woman, and you know that there is something more. And somehow along the way, you've done life, you've checked the boxes, you've accomplished all the things, deeply successful, and somehow still there's a space within you that realizes that you're not quite sure you even trust yourself anymore. You've maybe been in a place where even though you have successfully had a business, climbed the ladder of your corporate career, whatever it may be, had a family or not, been married or not, whatever you decided for yourself, you've done those things, achieved some things, and maybe find yourself so covered in layers of life that it's hard for you to even kind of see the forest for the trees, right? In midlife. Like I feel like we can all be there, relate to this space, and I myself have been there. So if this is you, then lean in. Hi, my name is Jen. I'm the founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness. I'm a transformational midlife revolutionary coach. And what the hell does that mean? So what that means is that I support women getting really clear about redefining the kind of midlife experience they want to have. I want to take you from crisis to awakening. I want you to understand that within your journey, you actually get to decide for yourself how you want that to look and feel. And so I help women get real clarity around where they've been, where they're going, how they're going to get there. What I do is a really unique style of coaching, combining my years of psychotherapy as a clinical social worker. So I did that in a really traditional setting for over 20 years. And my favorite healing modalities and things like Reiki, energy healing, emotion code, yoga, meditation, etc. So I use all of those things, put them together in sort of a Venn diagram vibe, right? Of spirituality, psychology, personal development, and like all of the parts of who you are, right? Working through those layers. That's really kind of what I say I do. And so today, what we're going to be talking about, if you're new here, we're going to be talking about midlife trust. And what the heck does that mean? So I had this really brilliant session today with a client of mine. And I felt like I would tell her story a little bit better than I would tell my own because I've told mine. I've been there, done that. So let's talk about somebody else's version of what trust looks like. Why is it different in midlife, right? So it's like, come on, like we need trust throughout our entire lifespan. I get that 1000%, understand, I feel that. And we also want to really recognize that with time, we evolve, right? We developmentally shift. One of the things that I got passionate, I got my teeth around was I wanted to create a different framework of reference for all of us because I feel like midlife kind of got this, it's like a scapegoat, right? It's like the redhead stepchild. It's sort of like this weird stage of life that we are sort of defeated about. We don't really talk well into. And I was like, that's not fair. And it's not right. And we want to revolutionize and shift that mindset that we have about it. And trust is huge. When I was chatting with my client today, we were talking about how trust really starts from us, right? That it is about a us space first. And from years of psychotherapy, one of the things I found was that a lot of people, when they were struggling with trusting others, they actually didn't trust themselves, right? Oh, my ear is buzzing. That's always how I know I'm up to something. And so we don't trust ourselves first. This is everything good starts with ourselves first, which kind of sounds cliched and blah, 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 but it's actually true, right? And so in talking to her, I was saying to her, so we're going to combine today wisdom and truth around trusting yourself this week. And so I've been out on vacation. And so this is like, I forgot how do I do this live thing again, right? And so it's been a minute, but I wanted to combine the two since I wasn't here last week to share this with you. So trust in midlife with wisdom is about what do I know? And trusting what you know. You've been given a certain set of circumstances, experiences, journeys in your life that are actually always preparing you. So learning how to trust what you've been trained for in your life, right? Really understanding that you have had experiences that have brought you to this very moment that are pivotal, that create who you are and actually what you were meant to do here. The truth of it is a little bit about energy, but you have to go back and catch my vlog this week on Tuesday to hear more about that. But I want you to think that if wisdom is what do I know, truth is how does it feel? And I want you to listen inwardly into how something lands for you. So when you're doing your journey, it's like, does that feel good to me? Does that feel in alignment? I just had a call with one of my besties this morning about my offerings and things that I was doing because I was like, it's not feeling right. It hasn't landed just quite right yet for me. Would you be willing to walk me through that? And she, of course, graciously did so. And so this is that place in life where we have enough wisdom and insight, experience to go, okay, I know some things, and I'm going to really start to slow down enough to really look at how it feels to me. not, and here's where we're going to go. That's really important about what my client said that I thought was like one of those like banging hot moments where someone says something, you're like, that's it. What she said, and this was, and because I said to her, she is awesome at this. She is one of those people that she's, first of all, she's just a freaking blast to work with. But second of all, so smart and intuitive and really trusts it. So she just makes my work super, super hella easy. But I said, how do you trust yourself? And she said, you know what it is? First of all, she's like, personal and spiritual development, huge. Absolutely 100% agree with that. So if you're not on board with that, get behind that shit, because that will absolutely elevate your life. So that's reading, growing, learning, going to events, things like that. So she's done a lot of that. She's just leaned in. She's psychologically minded anyway. That's part of her background. So the other thing she says, I listen to my inner knowing. And this is could be a tough thing to teach people because it's really about intuition. So our intuition is always speaking to us. It's really like the inner voice. But here's the catch. And this is what she said. I love this so much. She goes, it's a feeling not in the head. It's not here. It's not an academic intellectual thing. It's a heart, or it's an intuition. So this is your third eye. There's something about it's gut. And I said, and I was laughing. I'm like, that's exactly how I make all my decisions. My decisions do not often come from just a purely intellectual space. There's a place for that, right? So someone just went, right? I get it. I know your brain is an important function of all these things, but the truth is that your body, your intuition often knows well before you do that there is something that's going on that you're being called to do. And so I love that she said it wasn't a head thing. It's a heart, gut, and intuitive thing. She nailed it. So I want to encourage you to think that in midlife, you've developed all of those skills. You've been honing those pieces of your skill for years and years and years, right? You are here for it. So first question for you of the day, which of those resonates most? Do you think you come from a head space, a heart space, a gut space, or an intuitive space? For my entire life, I definitely want to say for sure, probably one of my primaries is gut. But I would also say heart. So I would say those, but it's all intuitive, right? Those tie into my intuition for me. I would say those two spots are my intuitive spaces that I'm like, yep, I got it. And so I love that. And here's the trust factor in midlife. Knowing that if you don't got it, you got it. And what does that mean? That you can trust and honor yourself enough to go, you know what? Even if I make a mistake, I can back that shit up and do something again. I can completely change my mind. I can change direction. I can renew my compass. I do not have to be here in just one way. It's not going to look like one way in my life, but I know that I will figure out the way, that lane change, that shift as it comes. I will know how to step into that space. Tell me how things you've lived through and how many times you've had to kind of configure something a little bit. This is really what redefinition and redefining is. It's why I work so much in that area, because it's making micro adjustments, right? This is all we're doing. And you know you've lived enough life. How resilient and strong are you as a human being? I mean, so strong and so resilient. You haven't gotten to this stage of your life in your 40s, 50s, wherever you are in your stage of life. You haven't gotten there without dealing with some shit. And if you've lived through it, you already have a skill, you've learned a lesson, you've got something to take away from that. You know how to move forward. So that's a piece of trust, is like, even if I risk something and I do something, I trust myself enough innately to go, I got this. I will know what to do. How many things have I gone through that didn't go exactly according to plan? And yet I'm still here. And yet I figured it out. So I loved that it was an intuitive thing that she was offering. I loved that it was this idea that, yeah, like, I know if it doesn't go the way that I imagine, I'll just fix it. I'll do something different. Not a big deal. And I love that. And then she said, anything that's bad won't last forever, which is a beautiful lesson of young life, I think, but also making connections with the way things served you. So if you're showing up in life, how have things served you? You have learned a thing. It is preparation. And so again, it's making meaning. You're going to find that I talk a lot about meaning making, because in psychotherapy for over 20 years of practice, one of the most pivotal healing modalities that people really dive into is meaning making. And it's why when I started my journey, I talked so much about purpose. Because if we can't make meaning of it, I can't understand why something's happened for me. It just feels like this meaningless, shitty awfulness that I live through. but I don't see the things that happen to us that way at all. My lens is actually so much bigger. And it's like, no, those were teachable moments. So whatever you've been handed, it's a teacher. Can you look at that as wisdom gleaning and something really powerful you get to take away to elevate and help you evolve as a human being? That's really what it is. And so to me, it's keeping that in mind that those things are serving you, they're for you, not happening to you. It's a very, very different modality, but it was really fun to hear my coaching client say all these things back to me that I'm like, yep, 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 love it, love it, love it. Some fun ones she mentioned I thought were cool. This is pivotal. This is a biggie, and this is midlife. In my framework, I didn't say this properly in terms of it being a super defined moment. But one of the things that we talked about was unlearning. And she's like, Jen, I feel like so much of our lives as we begin to age, and particularly in midlife for me personally, is unlearning. We have been doled out conditioning, stories, experiences that have molded us, right? Our people have, our moments have, our family, friends, education. I can sit and list for you the places that you've taken information away and very powerfully helped you develop. And it's helpful until it isn't. And I think this is really the tough space. In midlife, one of the biggest pieces of work that I define that we do in my framework is what I call integration. Integration is this really powerful and really tough space of work we're doing because it's digesting the process of unlearning and moving into learning. The reason it's so tough for many of us is because it's actually a process of being. So because in our culture, we're such a doing people, when we're asked to slow down, to simmer down, to sink and settle, to do a thing, we're like, resist, right? But actually, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is honor that you're going to need time to digest. So in the work that I offer people in my coaching, that's a part of what we're really trying to help you do is integrate, make sense of, digest, unlearn, digest, relearn. Unlearn, digest, relearn. There's a lot of what we're doing is we're unraveling all this stuff that we've been carrying around for a long time, making sense of that, removing the blocks, the stuck places, so that we can move forward into something completely different, shake things up, and we actually have the space to do it. I want you to imagine it's almost like you're carrying around stuff with you all the time. And if I don't ditch some of that, there's no room to carry more. Very much the same way we learn and progress and evolve as human beings. If I want a revolution, I'm going to have to learn how to let go of some of the old stuff to make space for the new. Okay. Huge. So I loved her note of unlearning, which is something I teach all the time, but I thought it was brilliant. The other thing she said, I thought this was so great. We had a good laugh. She goes, the other thing I think is magical thinking. And she goes, okay, but I'm actually not psychotic. She was cracking jokes because she totally didn't mean that. She's like, I'm actually not weird. She's like, I know that that's childlike thinking, but she said, what I want to get at is the fact that I'm so imaginative. I have a really grand vision. I can, in my mind, go in and see things unfolding, right? And I'm like, and she and I are wired very, very similar. I'm like, same. But she was talking about the ability to think beyond things. And why that sounds, it just sounds funny, but she's like, how many hits of intuition have I received in places like meditation, in places like visualization? She's like, I will hear or see words and I'm so attuned to what's going on around me, I can spot it. And I begin to see symbols, I begin to see patterns, I begin to see things that are happening over and over again. And if she didn't have an expansive mindset, it would be really easy to look over that. It would be easy to be in your head. Just here, just in the intellectual. And I'm like, well, it's just a coincidence that I see the same name of a place I should move 14 times. No, it's not. Right? No, it's not. So the thing that she didn't say, I'm going to say, because she summed it up without really probably even consciously doing this, was the importance of letting go of your perceived expectations. The idea of letting go of this idea that every single resolution is going to look the way that you need or want. The idea of stepping into imagination and magical thinking of a space of where all things can be real and true for us, right? And I think we can get really lost in adulthood in this. I know I myself was like in my early 20s, completely lost touch with my childhood self, which is super funny. And I had to go be a camp counselor to rediscover my inner child. It took some work as I was standing there being covered in toilet paper in circles by young women who were 8 years old or 9 years old. And they were laughing hysterically. And all of a sudden I was standing there in this stoic, like, this is so stupid. And finally it broke through to me. This is just pure joy. They're not overthinking anything. They're just in this moment with me, and they're just discovering their own form of joy. And so all of a sudden, pretty soon I'm cracking up, right? And then I have to run across the camp kind of property to get to the head owner to show him I'm wrapped like a mummy in toilet paper. And it was this beautiful moment of, and I remember it literally a pointed moment of like, I just remembered my childhood self. To me, what it is it's a freedom, right? It isn't being childish. It's a freedom to give yourself the space to expand, the space to see something through a different lens. You don't have to do life the way people doled it out. I'm going to tell you, I have the most gigantic internal rebel of all time. Sometimes it has kicked my ass, but I don't care. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And what I really mean by that is that, like, I'm not just going to take for rote what someone tells me is how it's supposed to be done, which is how I got to this revolutionary space. I'm not just going to take what's out there psychologically, intellectually, spiritually. I'm just going to take it, swallow that pill. Hell no. I'm sorry. That is not how I want to take a look at something on a much deeper, more expansive level for myself through my lens, through the lens of so many people I've worked with, and design a whole different way and approach of being in midlife that is so much more powerful in a space where I can trust myself. So if trust is an issue for you, number one, I'm going to encourage you to go inward and look at yourself first, which can be really, really tough work. Self-awareness is the first layer of work I do with my coaching clients, because you got to go in and understand the thoughts. I've got a client right in the thick of it. She just did her timeline. Now she's doing all of this like belief work. She's going to hate me, but that's okay. She'll hate me, love me. It's like that. She was like, oh, that timeline was powerful. I'm like, that's right, woman. But right, she's in the thick of it. So right now she's uncovering all those layers of who she is, who she was, where she's been, but really, what belief system is she functioning in? And what I want all of my clientele to learn is, can you fall back on the safety net of understanding that you can trust yourself implicitly to know the way? If you stumble, you know that you can get back up again and keep going. I want you to keep an imagination. I want you to keep that childlike wonder, that freedom, right? Freedom is one of my big words in midlife. That is like a huge foundational value of mine. It's like liberation and freedom. I don't want nobody to tell me how the shit's going to go down. I have always been that way. And in midlife, it's just personified. And I've sort of lost, and she said, it was really funny. She said, you know what little kids don't have that we kind of grow with time? A filter. And she goes, I love that they don't have filters. I have started losing my filter again. I can tell when I'm pissed off, frustrated, when I'm in a tough place. I have stopped just always doing this stop, full stop, grace. Ooh, what's someone going to think? Nope, bleh, out my face. If you didn't do a fair service, if you haven't held your end of the bargain, it doesn't matter what space it is. I have discovered the ability to renegotiate my boundaries for myself so I can trust myself. I never protect myself, right? So if something doesn't feel good to me, I need to know that I will step into that space and protect myself. And so it has been an uncovering almost of going backwards in some things, like that, of like losing that. I don't have to just always have this filter. I want to be socially graceful as much as possible, but I'm also going to freaking protect myself and set boundaries. That's all so important to this journey. So I want to just leave you with some of those ideas. And I think it's always so beautiful to have something come right out of a coaching client's mouth in terms of their process and how they see this journey. So looking at wisdom, what do you know, right? You know a lot of things. And truth, how does that feel to you? Because your truth is not the same as mine. That sounds crazy, but your truth is not the same as mine. So you want to understand what the truth is for you and how that feels. Being able and willing to micro adjust, redefine, right? You're going to hear me use that word all the time. That's what revolutionizing is. It's redefining your journey with something. And do you have to stay in that same state of crisis, or can you actually create an awakening? And to me, here's where my client went without trying. And I didn't quite say it this way. I said it and then I didn't get to it. She's talking about the spiritual side of all of this. My clients are all really spiritual people. I don't attract people that are like, spiritual what? My people are all like all up in it. They get it. Even if they have not done all the things that are spiritual, they're very open-minded. They show up and they're like, teach me about meditation, teach me about energy work, teach me about embodiment, teach me these skills through the lens that you use, which is really deeply spiritual. That's what she was getting at. There's a lot of what she combined today in our conversation that is about spirit. It is about something kind of bigger than ourselves, even. And to me, she was embracing this very notion that I have a foundational belief system that when we do things just trying to come from here, I will be honest, the moments I've done this the most have probably cost me the most. The moments I didn't listen to my inner voice kicked my ass the worst. I'm going to be honest. And so for me, really defining the space that spirituality holds for us as a pivotal component of what will help us actually evolve as human beings is huge. I often talk to connection, intimacy, all those pieces that we are growing into. We use those as tools to help us elevate, right? They're tools that help us elevate. And so to me, that's really what we want to go to is, can we lean into trusting ourselves? And also maybe, I know this is a bite, trusting something bigger than ourselves, that we have a deeper meaning of being here and what we're exposed to and what the world is made up of than the stuff that we just see with the whites of our eyes. And so I think that this can be and here's the thing, midlife people are here for this. You might not all think the same thing. That's not what I'm promoting, but you are usually hitting midlife and you're like, why am I here? Is this enough? Do I need something else? What is next? There's a really handful of standard questions that I hear people ask themselves. And very often, faith, spirituality, and that kind of component is a really deep aspect of moving through your developmental stages as a midlife person. And so that's, to me, I just want to lob that in there because I felt she was talking and she was sharing all this beautiful, wisdom she's had. And I was like, she's really getting at so much of the spiritual, the intuition, the heart, the gut. Those are things that aren't just intellectual decision-making, right? Now, I'm not saying don't use your mind. Okay. If you get a burr up your ass, would I tell you to go quit your job tomorrow and not have a plan? No. Okay. No, within reason. But do I believe that she is seeing symbols and she's finding patterns and that things are showing up for her in a really beautiful way? They're unfolding. Yes. Do I believe I was in a psychotherapy practice that was killing me from the inside out at 40 and I was getting called to do something different? I could have ignored that. I could have ignored that. I could have been making a lot of freaking money. I have news for people. I could have been making a lot of money. And it would have felt soulless because it wasn't where I was being called anymore. So the power is in the listening, that inner listening and knowing when you're being pulled to something, whether it's a move across the country, a career change, it is finding new hobbies, ways to tap into your purpose, understanding your purpose with full clarity, whether it is dealing with the layers that you're navigating in midlife, because you are dealing with the things. And one of the things in my coaching clients will tell you, I do not bullshit people. You are covered in things. You might be having struggles because we all do. We're all human. I hear it all the time in my ear. I need a roommate. I'm going through separation, divorce. My parent is dying or sick. I have a health issue. My kids are launching. My career is hopeless and I hate it and I'm miserable. I can't tell you the number of people that I've supported through those transitional times. That brings me so much joy. It's part of life, right? So I'm never going to sell to you it's all fairy dust and unicorns and I wish it was. It's every single thing about the lens we're using. And I don't know about you, but my lens is going to be hella positive and expanded and ready to learn, ready to grow, and ready to make meaning. Because it brings me so much more peace and joy and clarity and connection and intimacy. And these are the things that so many of us in midlife want. That's really the goal. The goal is cherished time. The goal is cherished energy, protected energy. It is about deep intimacy and growth. It's mortality. It's facing that we're not going to live forever. And if I'm here in this moment and I want to make meaning, what can I leave in the world behind me that leaves something powerful that the world needs? It's really fully embracing that you are who you are and there's only one of you in all of time. And you want to make sure that you leave every single thing on the table here. So for me, that's what midlife is. It's not just a developmental thing I'm going through. It's not just a framework. It's literally a spiritual journey where I want to trust myself and something bigger than myself to come in and do this kind of work, do this soul work, leave everything here so that the world gets whatever it is that I'm meant to leave here. That's just my lens. My lens may not fit for you, and that's okay. But I just wanted to speak to this trust piece because I do think we're going to be wrapping this kind of month up in just a little bit here. And I think that trust is a really huge piece. And what I always want you to understand, last month we were talking about, committing to yourself, honoring yourself. We've been talking about yourself because lots of midlife women are great at taking care of everybody else. They're great at focusing on everybody else. They're not so great at focusing on themselves. So what I want you to do is learn how to trust yourself. I want you to know that no matter what happens, you will find a solution. I want you to know you can trust what you know and where you've been. I want you to know you can trust how you feel, the truth of it. Those are your markers for being able to trust. And then when we dole trust out, even if someone hurts us, it's a lesson. And I know I can move through it. How many of you out there have been hurt by another person? Anybody? It's about a gazillion hands up. Most of us have like two hands up with all of our fingers and our toes. There's not enough. All of us. We still figured it out. You need to know you can trust yourself to figure it out. So that's what I want to leave you with today. It has been a minute. It has been a joy, actually. See, once I'm in here doing the live, I'm like, oh, there it is. There's that natural, because I forget after a minute when it's been vacation. I've been on lots of vacation in January and March, and my brain is like still integrating back into time and space. So I'm super excited to be here. It was really great to share time with all of you. So let me know what you think about this idea of trusting yourself. Tell me about how you're doing with that in midlife. I love to hear it. Leave comments. Hi, Angel's in the house. So good to see you, sweetheart. Love to have you. So love talking about this and sharing space with brilliant people like Angel to do this kind of work because it's awesome shit. Okay, let's talk about where to go from here. So as we close today, I want to share with you an event I'm hosting next week. If you've heard me talk about it, just hang in with me because I know it's a lot. It's like, why am I so freaking passionate about this event? I've been going back to some of the people that I hadn't connected with in a minute in my network because I've shifted gears just ever so slightly. And so it's been fun to like leave voice memos, checking in, like, hey, how's it going? Trying to network a little bit, trying to get back in the swings. It's been a minute. And telling them about this midlife piece and this real like honed in, midlife. Because I really believe that truly it is an awakening and not a crisis. And I really, truly want our culture to shift in its entirety. It's not a small platform. It's not a small mission. And so when I designed this idea of redefining midlife mastery course, it was really so that I could take you through the layers. So ironically, what's so cool is we literally are walking the journey that if you are new to me and you don't know this, but if you have, thank you for listening anyway, that you have all the way from your outer layer to your inner layers all the way through. You want to address them all. So designing this program was literally taking you through the steps from beginning to end, getting more and more personal and more in depth and more spiritual as you go through the 2 weeks. Not an accident. So it's so fun. I get to open. I'm going to be talking about midlife revolution, what the hell that means. I'm actually sharing my brand new framework for the first time, which is so freaking cool. And it's all about midlife awakening. So I can't wait for you to come in and see that and hear that because that's fire. So that's really cool. So I was excited to share some new knowledge and wisdom and something that I created. But it's really about tapping into your layers and inviting you to be a rebel. My people are rebellious in nature. If you're not a rebel somewhere inside your soul, you can probably just you probably already tuned out. Let's just be really honest, because that's my soul. And so I want to inspire and empower other women to be rebels in their lives. I want them to stop just taking what they think they have to, create a solution for themselves and trust themselves enough to do so, period. End of sentence. That is what Redefining Midlife Mastery course is all about. It's helping you look through different lenses at the layers of who you are, how you're wired, so that you can begin to unravel and unlearn some of what you knew, make space to learn again, right? Whole idea whole concept of this entire event. So if you want to join us, you can go to laughinglotuswellness.com/midlife. You can just check it out there. There's details on how it's going to work. It's going to be freaking fire. These experts have sent in their videos. It's a virtual, which is actually easy so that everybody didn't have to be available at the same time. Okay. We have some people out of the UK coming in and teaching you. We've got Wendy Hill. We've got Natalie Hurley. We've got Teresa Heath Waring. They're coming out of a 6-hour time difference. Tech, I was not going to have it be an issue. I'm like, nope. Everybody gets their videos in the morning here. You're going to get those videos in your inbox. You get all day long to watch it because you're busy. You got shit going on. You got the layers of life going on. I respect that. So if it's 9 o'clock at night, you're like, okay, to get ready for bed today, I'm going to sit and listen to this like a podcast or whatever that might look like. You have that flexibility. I honor that. Then every Friday of the 2 weeks, you're going to have a live panel Zoom call at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, where the experts from that week will actually be coming in and answering all of your questions that you have that specifically pertain to their area of expertise. And so that is going to be fire. You have a Facebook community, connect with like-minded women. And then from there, you have 10 days to replay. So if you have to miss something because you are so busy, by all means, we wanted to give you the time and space to go in and capture that video again and make sure you have time to really sit with that content. Really important. By the way, everyone's offering you a free gift as well. I know I'm doing so much. I'm freaking doing midlife mastery for sure. Girl, can't wait to have you there. So many free gifts. I know mine. I'm giving a bundle. It's a workbook, and I have 2 quizzes within the system, which is super fun. They will not be part of the freebie. They're part of my actual workshops that I'm offering to you. But I did create a little bundle. One is for Revolution, and work in there. And then you get meditations with it. And then the last one is actually a workshop I'm going to host just for the people who attend the event. And that will all be about creating a kind of a navigating midlife toolbox. Super cool. So that's going to be taking place in April. And that's just, again, like a gift to you for showing up. That's one person. I have 2 free gifts. So I'm just telling you that these women are coming in, all of them offering you a free gift of some kind. So you can come in, grow, embrace, change, shift, and then take even more tools from them to continue your journey, should you choose. So there's a lot of content you're going to get. It's so worth your time. It costs $79. I'm asking you to invest in yourself. I'm not going to be rich from this. I'm going to be real honest. Trust me when I say it's an investment in you. That's exactly what I believe in. And the women that I work with and that are inspired by my work and the other women I'm bringing in to share with you, they see the investment in it, right? I invest in myself 24/7. I'm not asking you to do anything I don't do. Period. So I invest in my time, my education, my growth, my healing. I invest in that. And that's what I would say to you as well, is this is an investment in you, in your growth, in your experience. So I can't wait for you to sign up. Again, that's laughinglotuswellness.com/midlife. Type that in. All the info is there. Super easy to sign up. Get rolling. We'll send you the links, and we're going to be in touch soon. So I can't wait to see you there. I'm so excited to share the stage with all these brilliant women. You are going to love them. I know each of them personally, and I will guarantee you that you're going to learn something or have a different way of looking at something by the end of those 2 weeks. That is fire to me. And so to me, that is spiritual. Right? To me, that is what midlife revolution is all about. So I can't wait to bring that to you, and I can't wait to see you there. So until next time, friends, blessings, love, and light to all of you. I can't wait to see you next week. And we'll be coming in on Thursday as normal at noon, maybe even with one of my besties from the stage. We'll see if I can talk somebody into coming live with me next Thursday, because that would be super fun. But I can't wait to see you next time. Otherwise, this is just me supporting you on your path to purpose in midlife and creating your midlife revolution. Love to all, and we'll see you soon. Take care.